copy and paste it,
Yeah.
you need to make sure you start it from.
Ray Zachary's coming in.
Because I've put on there, this is what I'm going to put on, but you need to copy it from after that bit.
Okay. Okay. Evening, Gizzy. Evening, Ray Zachary.
Evening, Gizzy.
Hello.
Right. Evening,
Hello,
Ray.
Fruity John, Pete.
Right.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah, surviving.
Oh, Gizzy, there's a possibility we may be flying out of East Midlands in the summer.
Okay.
So
Give me the dates, mate.
I might need the services of your front garden.
Give me the dates, mate. You're welcome. I've got someone there this week.
It's only 50 quid a week. All right, kid. All right.
Where are you going?
Pardon?
Where are you going?
Hopefully flying out to Malta and going on the Azura.
Oh, nice. What date's that?
August the 4th.
Oh, I'm in Croatia.
Well, it goes up there, Croatia, Dubrovnik.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'll drive down.
It's cruising up that way. I'll let you know for definite if we do it.
Okay, if you get me the dates, I'll drive down.
Yeah, I'll tell you where we're stopping at.
John, don't worry, I'll let them in.
We're definitely stopping in Dubrovnik and all that. And is it Split?
Oh, I'll go down twice.
A couple of places in Croatia it's stopping. Yeah, but we've got it all.
Pete, why not stow away?
It is, Scotty.
Evening, Jim.
It is
Everybody. Everybody. Hello.
Everybody. Evening.
John needs the meeting postcode.
Who's all those lollies hanging over the side there, Ray?
Which John would that be? Have you got
What's
that
that?
message, Colonel?
What's that, Pete?
It's a message from a John. He needs the postcode. Not the postcode, the password.
Well, he doesn't. John Trent. All right.
I don't know. It doesn't say which one.
All right. Well,
What's that on, Pete? Which side?
I've got it on Messenger.
it's on WhatsApp. It's on WhatsApp. I'll do it. I'll do that for him.
Who would that be? John.
John. I mean, it's John Tremblin.
John Tremblin.
Oh.
Not there for a long time.
No, that's not
one.
John Tremblin.
It's a +19 code. Who would that be?
That's not John Tremblin. Not with a +91.
No, look, it's not. Who's +91?
It's all right. I don't know.
All right.
It's just come up on my phone, Dave.
Send it to him.
Yeah, I've just looked at it, but it's not.
I'll work on it.
+9.
I'll work on it.
Just send it to him, John. We'll find out who he is.
Yeah, well.
Well, just send him the link, and he should be able to get in from it.
Well,
whoever that is.
If you're looking at, I need the postcode. That was me posted that because it came up and anyway, it all went off, and I tried again. And I've just got in without it, so I don't know what happened there.
Okay, all right, we're good.
What the hell's your dialing code? +091.
When I'm on my laptop.
Oh, that's your laptop.
Yeah.
Right.
Normally I can go straight in, but I think because we've been off the last couple of weeks onto a different one, this is probably what's come up.
It's kind of complicated, John. What happened was it's the same link, but because it was from a different domain in the UK, it just acted a bit funny. So, but
yeah,
it's all back to good now.
Anyway, I'd second try, and I as I say, well, I've obviously got in without the.
Okay, good.
Have you finished your cake?
Good to be home, Johnny.
Sorry.
Good to be home.
Yes, it is good to be home. It's good. It's good that they let me back in the good old USA.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
All you got to do now, Johnny, I'm afraid, is sort those gun laws out, mate.
No, that's a long story. Anyway, Steve, I think there's a little bit of interference with your phone on the audio when you talk, but
It sounds like a loose connection, Steve.
yeah, it does. I think what I would do is I'd reboot your phone, come back in.
Right.
Yeah.
So what am I doing? Am I breaking up?
Well,
It's on PC though.
It's all crackly.
it crackles when you talk, as if you got a short. But you know, it's not a huge deal. But
Okay.
yeah, it's all right.
Evening, David.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening, David.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, all.
You're,
Walk
you're
past
back
your,
on cover,
your
are
flat
you?
today, John. Walk past your flat today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just in time to see the red arrows go over.
Oh, that was
past
this morning.
11.
There was a crowd of people on the front. I didn't know what it was because somebody in the front phoned me up and asked me if I knew what was happening. Some friends of mine, and they seem to think I'm a nosy bugger, and they've always got my head out the window seeing what's going on. They call me
We had a coffee at the bandstand.
They call me a curtain twitcher, but I'm not because I've got blind.
Well, John,
Anyway,
rumour
it
has
turns out there was the flyover. It was all over in a few seconds.
Yeah, all 10 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, rumour has it that all Chief Bakers knew what was going on.
Really? You surprised me there.
all Chief Bakers for Twitchers. Yeah.
Steve's coming back in.
Where's the married man's trail, Scotty?
Ketchikan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that leads up to Dolly's house.
Oh, right. I wouldn't have used that in those days.
Let's try talking to Steve.
Is that any better? Am I still crackling?
Yeah, it is.
A little bit.
Hi, guys. Brendan.
Hi, Brendan.
Okay, Steve, don't worry about it.
Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Whole session's here.
Hi. How are you all?
The whole session, the whole
Good.
session here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can, Ray.
Okay, good. I just wasn't sure.
Well, we were really worried because you were very quiet.
Well, sometimes I am.
Poor bloke couldn't get a word in.
Yeah.
What's that in the background, Ray?
It's like over.
That picture was Farewell, Alaska. Because on the Sun Princess, we used to have a Farewell Alaska dinner every year. The Colonel, you probably went to some of them. Gizzy, you probably went to some of them.
Yeah.
It was all the bar staff, and that restaurant was near Drake's stripper bar. Drake's stripper bar was just across the road, and it was just off the Burrard Pier when you came over the bridge to the right-hand side. And we went there for the Farewell Alaska lunch. And the whole thing was quite the affair. It was there was a lot of things that happened that day. So it was a pretty fun and interesting day. I can't remember, the meal that we had there was really great. We took over the whole blooming restaurant, and you can see Phil there and Dave Hawkins, Harry Hawkins.
Was that
Susie
Joanna
Moe.
hanging over the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joanne. Colin was there. Donut was there. I think he took this picture. I've got some other pictures that we took inside where Dave Inge is being master of ceremonies, and you can see bottles of champagne and God knows what. And early in the morning, Dave Hawkins, Harry the dog, and I jumped in a cab and went down near Stanley Park and bought roller skates. He actually could roller skate really well, and I couldn't roller skate hardly at all. And we got out of the shop and were skating up and down the sidewalk with our shoes in shoe boxes. And we jumped in a cab and came back to this lunch. And the whole time we were there, we were wearing these living roller skates. And then when I finally took them off, and then when we decided to leave, the whole group went over to Drake's. Do you remember Drake's? It was a stripper pool bar right across the road. It's still there, I think.
Certainly
That
not.
number 5,
it's
number
not.
5 Orange Street.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
And I thought to myself, they wouldn't let me in wearing roller skates. And I was standing next to Susie Morrow, and I said to Susie, you just walk in, I'll put my hand on your shoulder and I'll roll in behind you. And that's what we did. And nobody seemed to give a care one bit that Dave and I were wearing roller skates. And every time one of the stripper shows finished, we'd skate out into the car park and roar around the car parking lot like crazy people and then go back in again. Yeah. Great. It was a really great day.
That's a big group behind you, Pete, on your picture.
Yeah, it's the Sun Princess Christmas 1976. There's an awful lot of familiar faces there. Fraser, Kevin,
I can see Vince, Fraser.
Aaron,
I see
David,
Vince, yeah.
there.
Oh, there's Ricky
Vince
Kirk,
is in
Malcolm
there.
up there in the left-hand corner.
Yep.
There's Aggie in the front.
As she would be.
That's Martha right behind your head, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
A really good
thought
Move
it
your head
was.
slightly. Move your head slightly. That's Martha, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's interesting because weren't Scotty and Gizzy and myself on the Pacific Princess then?
We were on
In
76.
We were, yeah.
Big
Yeah,
Pete
that's right.
Christmas,
Yeah, we were on the Pacific Princess. Yeah.
Wasn't that Aussie cruising then, or were we back then?
Oh, can't remember.
I think we were back in the States then, actually.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we went back about the summertime, didn't we? Because I can remember we must have been there because I can remember the bicentennial.
I think.
Oh, the
you swapped.
bicentennial, yeah.
Yeah,
think-
we were back in the States by then, weren't we?
Yeah, Jimmy, I think you swapped with the Arcadia because her last lesson cruising was, I think, 76, and then she
Yeah, might be
finished
right, yeah.
life down in Australia.
Yeah, we went down there for 6 months, didn't we, as an experiment?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they want to so well.
Repainted the funnel.
I thought it was very successful, but the company didn't.
Yeah, had a good time down there.
Yeah, we did.
Lovely.
Now when the Italian waiters all rebelled because they were getting tipped. Yeah, they're getting no money, but they're getting plenty of everything else. Yeah.
What was that?
None of that.
The R's made money out of the spare latties and
Talking about things behind you. What's that behind you, Derek? That sign there.
Married Man's Trail.
Where's that? Is that Australia somewhere?
No, that's in Ketchikan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's up. It's the pathway to Dolly's house. which
Oh,
was-
okay. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that now.
It's a lot of new stuff they put up for the tourists. I think.
Oh, okay. So this is recent. You got that. It's a recent picture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does anybody remember the Fireside Bar in Ketchikan? I think it was called the Fireside.
Yeah, the Fireside Lounge, yeah.
Is that just off
and
the
they had really great chairs there that were swivel, and they waved back and forth. And I actually don't remember who was there. Dave might have been there. I think he was there, but there was a group of us that went there one lunchtime, and we were trying to steal one of the chairs.
I think I fell asleep in one day.
Hooligan.
Salty Sea Dog Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody was wheeling it towards the door with the intention of escaping with it, but nobody ever did.
I was looking at the picture of the P&O funnel behind you. Did you
Yeah,
ever
that-
get any of the
That was when we were in Australia.
in Australia?
Yeah, that was when we got down to Australia that first time.
Yeah, they did the official ship's postcard and painted the funnel on it yellow. Did you ever get any of those?
No, I don't think I did. No.
What ship was that?
That's
BP.
Pacific Princess.
Oh, was it? I
Yeah,
never knew the funnel was painted yellow.
yeah.
Just for that one season.
Yeah, that's right.
They painted out the sea witch and put P&O on it.
Yeah, you can see the sea witch there still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the P&O's over it. Yeah.
Yeah. We were in with Oriana there.
I don't remember that.
Hmm.
So, John, are you glad to be back in Seattle?
I'm very grateful that they let us back in, Ray.
What was the story? How did Cindy
Oh.
save the day?
Well, she saved the day because we get to the British Airways desk and, you know, we show them the recovery letters and the two ladies that they weren't really having it. And they said, well, you need to go online and do this, and that. And I thought, oh, here we go. And Cindy persevered. And basically, it was just another loophole. And once it got to a certain stage, I was looking at the ladies' faces, you see. I had nightmares the whole week that we wouldn't get past the desk, you know. And all of a sudden, they started smiling. And then they printed the boarding pass, and Bob's your uncle. After that, it's like winning the lottery, because otherwise we'd have been really screwed, because we're stuck in Heathrow. Our sister's already back in Petersfield.
Yeah.
Did you have to wear a mask during the flight, John?
No, but we did out of respect that technically we were coming back on a recovery letter from COVID, you know, out of respect for people.
Yeah.
I think some lines are still insisting that, you know, all passengers wear masks, actually.
Well, the whole of that plane, hardly anyone was wearing a mask. Yeah, as in Heathrow, there was a.
Yeah, we noticed that this afternoon when we was out for coffee and that, and there's very few people. We was going to put our masks on when we went in, and we said, "Well, is it worth it?" Nobody else's sort of thing, so we didn't bother.
Yeah.
Well, do you think they were just being difficult?
Well, no. It's just the fact is that unlike the UK, you know, they to get back to the USA, you have to have a negative test.
Yeah.
And they've got to stop it. They have to move on with life, and you know, just live with this, because all I had was a cough. I had a cough for 2 days, but the stupid test, they kept saying that I got COVID. You know, so I don't.
Well, I never had it. When I had it, I never had any symptoms. Never had any at all. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't have tested. I wouldn't have known I got it.
Yeah.
Fantastic photo, Pete.
Well, Jan,
she looked fabulous.
Yeah.
She looked absolutely gorgeous.
Didn't she look good?
Gone blonde. She doesn't look blonde there, but she was blonde, wasn't she?
But when I saw her, I just looked at the facial features. I thought, I'm sure that's Jan Bacon. It can't be. She looks so young.
Yeah.
But she looked absolutely gorgeous, didn't she?
Yeah.
I reckon it was 40 years since I've seen her, and she didn't look a day older.
No, and me, yeah, about the same. And Mickey Munson looks the same now as he did 40 years ago.
He does.
I don't think I'd be too happy with that comment.
What's your mouth out?
For years after, I don't know if this is anybody else's experience, but after working on the ships for so many years and traveling every 4 to 6 months or whatever and going through customs, I had so many negative experiences that every time I went to a grocery store and was pushing a cart, like pushing a luggage trolley, I'd feel somehow guilty or something that I was going to get arrested, because I seemed to have the worst luck when it came to going through customs and immigration. I was always getting pulled aside and ridiculous.
Yeah, I used to be the same in actual fact. And one turn there, I went through the green thing, nothing to declare, and I got stopped. So the guy said, oh no, I was going through the red, that was it. And they stopped me and everything. He said, you should have gone through the green. I said, well, I'll go through the green. I said, you guys stopped me. I said, that's what I've come through here. It's easier.
Yeah.
I
know, and I got. Sorry, go on,
do you remember when my wife nearly got arrested in San Juan, but by the customs officer? You don't?
No.
It wouldn't take a lot to upset. You know, depends how you know how what sort of mood they're in when you
here's the deal. We were leaving to fly back to England, and all the Goanese crew were going back. They were going through with boxes of stuff. And remember that they're all Roman Catholics, and it's a Catholic nation. The customs officer, I should get Cindy to tell you the story one day. He decided to ask Cindy for a receipt for this necklace thing, which she did for me with a movie camera. And it was stupid because she didn't need it. It ended up, he up into the purse, tampons came out, the whole thing. And she called him a bastard. And he immediately said, what ship are you on? And Cindy had to go back onto the ship. We had to go up in front of Sammy. And actually, I think it was John Evans, the surgeon. The customs guy came on, and the surgeon had to tell the guy that Cindy had been on medication. And then she had to apologize. Otherwise, they were going to fine the ship for this.
Yeah. I can't remember this guy's name, and you guys will know his name. Maybe Ollie would know him. Steve, you'll know for sure. There was a PRS on the Sun Princess. He was well known by everybody. I can't for the life of him think of his name. But maybe I don't have a picture of him. But remember, we used to do the customs immigration control. That was one of our PRS duties. And you'd go to like the after lounge and set up the stanchions, and then you had to do the crowd control as people were coming through to get them cleared. And we always used to set it up in the same way, where you came in one side of the bar and went out the other. And it was our job as PRS to set that up in the morning, and then the purser staff would do all the processing. And he had set all that up. And this US customs officer came in and said he didn't want it done that way. He wanted it done a different way, right? And this PRS, we have to try to figure out who he is. He said, well, we always do it this way, right? And we've been doing it this way for years, right? And it works really well, but I don't want it done this way. And he goes, oh, fair enough. And he walked away, the PRS walked away. And as he walked away, he called him a bastard, same thing as Cindy. And he turned to one of the purser's office and said, get me that man's discharge book, because we had discharge books in those days. And he revoked all of his visas, every single one of them. He canceled them, which meant that first of all, it meant he couldn't go ashore in San Juan, which was Puerto Rico. And the next time he flew back home, if he had to join in the US port, he wouldn't be able to go because he no longer had a visa. Remember, we used to have those B1 and B2 visas and I-95. Yeah.
Trying to think who that would be. I can't think who that would be.
So did that stand, or did the company get it cancelled, or what happened?
I don't know. After that, I don't think he came back after that, when he went on leave after that.
Because something similar to that. Something similar to that happened with me with customs. They came on board, and they, for some unknown reason, came to my cabin, did a search. Well, I used to keep all the cooking wines in my cabin because I had nowhere to lock them up in the baker's shop. If anybody you remember, I mean, it's so small there wasn't a room to swim a cat, let alone anything else. And they found all these cooking wines, Marsala. Yeah, Marsala, Kirsch, all this sort of thing, and they confiscated it all. So I said, well, it's not mine. As such, I said, it's the company's. I said, it's cooking. I've got no way. They still took it anyway. I flew out, saw the chief steward, and they must have contacted the customs, and obviously they got influence and they got it all back. But nothing was ever done about it. But that was absolutely obvious what it was there for. It's not something you would drink with Coke or anything like that. And but they made a big issue with it. But obviously Princess Cruises or whoever there had an influence, and they did recover it all. But after that, I had a lock fitted in one of the cupboards there and kept that to keep the booze in there. But that's how silly they can be sometimes.
One of the funniest experiences I had was with Andy Hiscox one time. We'd been on leave, I think it was over Christmas actually, and we were flying back, I think, to San Juan via New York. It was about the second or third week in January, something like that. because New York was totally covered in snow, as it usually is, you know, piled high at the side of the runways. Everybody was extremely cold, and we went into the immigration area at Kennedy Airport, and it was absolutely crowded. And there was pushing and shoving, and typical American immigration, you know, you have that yellow line. No one's allowed to step over the yellow line under any circumstances. And there was this pushing and shoving, and this guy come along swinging his big stick saying, right, step behind the line, step behind the line, take your time, take your time. And Andy Hiscox, in his wisdom, shouts, yeah, while we're queuing here, there's another 3,000 Mexicans just come across the border in Texas. This guy turned around. Who said that? Everybody was, oops.
They can't take a joke, can they?
No, they can't take a joke. That is the problem with them. They can't take a joke. Yeah, Andy was looking to get away with that. We all sort of put our heads down and no, I never heard anything. Oh dear. That was Andy all over, wasn't it?
I remember
totally.
Port Health used to give us fun and games, and there was what we had. What Peter Story was in a bit of a flap about the Port Health coming into the Union Jack Bar, and the guy came in and he was pretty happy with everything, and Sir Peter said, "What we'll do, we'll give him a drink, and that'll loosen him up a little bit and all that," and they poured him, I think it was a gin and tonic or something like that. And then it just put the drink down. And then he hadn't put the drink down. And then he hit it. He hit this drink, smashed the glass. This is Peter's story. Smashed the glass, drink went everywhere. Everyone looked around, what are you doing? He said, I accidentally knocked it over. And of course, afterwards, we said, what was all that about? And Peter reckoned there was a dead cockroach in one of the ice cubes. And he'd seen it, and he thought, if that guy swallows that ice cube, we're in real trouble. And that's why he did it. But whether it was a cockroach or not, we never did see it. But
was that the International
Union Jack Bar?
Yeah,
US Port Health.
Something similar that happened to me on an American inspection, and they were coming round, and in the bakery there. And Steve Mann was the DP at the time, and he was there as well. And as this inspecting officer walks away, this cockroach appears on the deck. So Steve put his foot on it and stayed there until the guy had gone out the baker's shop.
Well, that International Bar, they shut it, closed it for a little while overnight, turned all the lights out, and put the traps out, and then in the morning there was thousands of cockroaches in there.
Yeah.
Does anybody know, do they still have cockroach problems on the ships?
I bet they do.
Yeah, it's something you never get rid of, John, I don't think.
Well, these new ships that are being built, I mean, are they sort of using chemicals to try and stop them from, I mean, because that's where they come on when the ship is being built.
Yeah, but a lot of them come on with stores as well, don't they?
Yeah.
When we were in refit one time in Esquimalt in Nanaimo, and I'm sure it was Pete the Feet. I was working up in the International Lounge. I used to love dry dock. We had so much fun in dry dock. Like it was a regular job, and we'd go out and spend, we'd be out all night partying. I'm pretty sure it was Pete the Feet had done some deal with a carpet layer to get your carpet done in your cabin, right? Did you guys ever do that? Anyway, he told me to see this. They had extra carpet, like from laying in one of the lounges. I know somebody got into big trouble because somebody recognized, they were doing an inspection of the cabins, recognized the main lounge carpet in the cabin. But this was like maybe carpet had been done from, maybe some of the passenger cabins. Anyway, he told me to go and see this guy who was laying carpet, and I could tell him where my cabin was, and he'd come down and put new carpet in. It was a fish tank, the cabin that we used to have the fish tank in. And so he said, just go down. He said, I can do it this afternoon. Just go down, make sure there's nothing on the floor. So I go down, started picking things up. We used to have transformers and things plugged in those days. putting everything on the bunk, and I had never looked under my bottom. I was in the top bunk. I'd never looked under the bottom bunk before, ever. And I think I'd been in the cabin for about a year, and I looked underneath, and I could see there was kind of a roll of something at the back, and it actually turned out to be a roll of carpet. And I reached in under, it was very dark, I reached under the bunk, and I grabbed this carpet and pulled on it. And when I pulled on it, there was like movement in behind the carpet, like the whole darkness kind of moved. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then I pulled the carpet back even more, and like 1,000 cockroaches came.
Oh, you're going to say the carpet, right?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and we'd never seen a cockroach. I'd never seen a cockroach in the cabin, and there was like a whole nest of them under the bunk. I can't imagine it to this day. I rolled out of there. I think
it was a satellite city.
Can someone say hi to Taffy?
We're talking about cockroaches, Alan.
Yeah.
We're really scraping the barrel this week.
Yeah. Well, mine just went off. My phone just went off then. That's why I disappeared. Well, my phone's getting really hot, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, something's up, Steve.
I remember doing fire watching Squire Malt. I did my 4 hours, and Dave Hale said, "Can you cover me for a bit to do his?" I didn't see anyone for another 4 hours, so I ended up doing 8 hours of Squire, walking around, and there's no tape in the machine at the end of it. So the tick went around the clock everywhere. Got back to the bridge. He opened it up. Nothing there. But the job was done.
Yeah.
How is it in the valleys, Taffy?
All good in the valleys, yeah, nice and nice week, just relaxing and just pottering around and getting everything back to where it should be. A bit like putting your cabin straight, really. And but I'm nice and relaxed. I've already started the Taffmobile's all ready to go again. I've got two big boxes of UHT in there, milk.
Straight off the ferry.
I'm ready to set off again.
Kathy, do you is the Taffmobile like a caravan and you just travel around all over in it? Is that what you do?
Yeah, it's a little motorhome. It is a little camper van motorhome type thing, and you know, it's pretty good when you're on your own, because I couldn't imagine I would never be able to share it with anybody, even even an exotic dancer or something, because you've got to be. It's like when we first went to see everything had to have its place.
Yeah,
that's what I'm like in there.
Hey, Charlie.
I'm a neat freak like that too. Although I would make.
Don't shove the pole in there then for the pole dancer.
Do you know, I once or twice it's gone through my mind of testing the bunk out, but the mind is willing, but the body's not so cool anymore. You know, I did say I was in Australia about some years ago, and I had a really good photograph. I must have been a trick of light or something, because I looked. It was only my shoulders, but I looked really good and fit, you know. And I put it up on Facebook, but I put it up again about 3 years later, and I said, "This is the last photograph you'll ever see me without a shirt on." So the mind is still willing, but the body's a bit knackered. So
join the club.
Yeah, but talking about cockroaches, my first trip at sea on the Canberra, New York Harbour, July 1973. And I'd never been on a ship before, and I'd never, ever heard of a cockroach before. I didn't know I know what a beetle is, but I didn't, we don't have cockroaches in the valleys. And so I shared a two berth. I was a utility steward first trip. and I was on the bottom bunk, and I was absolutely fucking terrified and horrified when I woke up and turned the light on and seen these cockroaches on the above me on the bulkhead. I was, but you know, we sort of learned to live with it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Bombay Canary.
Yeah.
Well, we did have a choice, stuff.
Bombay Canary.
Are you back in Bermuda, Charles?
Charles,
Yes,
good
sir.
to see you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And can we have a weather forecast from Bermuda, Charlie?
It's 24
And sunny.
and sunny. Yes,
Ah,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what sort of salad have you had today?
Just a light one today.
So how was your trip to Ireland, Charlie? Was it
Yeah,
it good?
brilliant. Yeah. I met Noel and
Seamus?
Seamus. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, really good meet up with them. Yeah.
Did you get a word in edgeways with Seamus?
We did. Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Noel.
Here comes
We had
Noel.
a lot to talk about.
There's
Here he
no
is right
now,
now.
Charlie.
Sorry.
There's no now.
Right.
Well, it might take
Yeah.
a while.
Seamus was complaining he couldn't get a fucking word in with me.
I know. They should have put you,
Oh no!
you, Seamus, and Tinker in the same room. You'd never. That would be a real bump. See you trying to get a word in there.
And talking politics.
Yeah. He hasn't got his can't hear us yet. No.
Did Leinster win yesterday?
No, they got beaten the last minute. Last minute try. Was it not 80 plus 4 or something, wasn't it, when they went over?
Yeah, unbelievable. Both matches, the Rugby League Cup final and the European Cup. They both
Here comes Tinker to help him out.
There's Tinker.
They were both decided in the last 2 minutes. Both games. Unbelievable afternoon of sport yesterday.
Yeah, he needs.
I watched Wrexham and Grimsby. What a game that was.
Yeah.
Oh, how did Wrexham get on?
They
They
lost
lost.
It was
5-4.
4-4 after 119 and a half minutes. And Grimsby scored a header.
Yeah,
They
that's
won
Hollywood.
5-4.
Yeah.
If you can hear us, Nolan Tinker, you have to connect to the audio.
It was a terrific match. Credit to both sides, I thought.
Okay.
There's so much going on now, isn't there, with the football?
Well, it's all done now, isn't it? After our rivals won today, it's all over.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Nolan Tinker? Just put your thumbs up if you can.
Put your thumbs up if you can hear us. No.
Yeah, they need to connect to the audio when
It's
it comes.
showing. It's showing.
Audio needs switching on.
Yeah. Maybe I'll send them a message.
I've got one here on WhatsApp to him.
That's to unmute.
So, Charlie, did you make it at all to London?
I did. I had a funeral up there, so I had to go up for that.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did you stay?
I beg your pardon?
How long did you stay?
Up in London,
Yeah.
just for the day. It was up for the
Oh,
funeral
right.
and back down.
Right.
He's got. Can you hear us, Noel? Give us a wave if you can. No. He's got Tinker on it.
Probably best they log out and come back in again, then try again. Oh well.
So, John, has service in the bars improved on cruise ships since our day, or are we still the best?
Oh, you mean on the modern cruise ships? There's no comparison, Ray, because I mean it's still business, but the fact is they got all these fancy cocktails, which we didn't know how to do those. I mean, yeah, but I think the service is pretty good. Yeah, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I bet they have lots of automated cocktail machines these days. Like, well,
Yeah.
I remember we did a lot of blended drinks when we worked on the ship.
The thing I find strange is that if you go to a bar where it's got stools around it, you order a drink but the steward takes the order, the barman makes it, and the steward brings it back. There's no contact between the passenger and the barman. It's
Really?
weird.
That's what Kevin O'Halloran always used to do.
No, it's just strange. It's a strange sort of concept.
I haven't seen that, Fruity. I haven't seen that.
Well, definitely on P&O they do it that way.
Really? Well, it's probably still a COVID thing. I'm sure it's all finished now.
No. I haven't been on a cruise since 2019, and it was like it then, and it was like it before that. It was like it before that.
But sometimes
You
you're
could see it
muted
from-
and it says mute stuff, so I don't know how to mute it.
No, we can hear you.
But we got you. It's good.
We've got your
It's good.
sound, Noel. We can hear you, Noel.
Good. You got it.
You got it.
It's like the restaurants here. We've been out for a meal and that, and they don't pour the wine now. They bring it over, and you have to open it yourself and pour it.
Really?
And again, that's a leftover from
crazy.
COVID.
We can hear you, Noel. Tinker, we can hear you.
Microphone access for this device
Yeah,
is
we-
on.
we-
No
we can
extra
hear you.
access to microphone.
You're okay.
You're on.
You're on.
Where's that, John?
He obviously can't hear us.
I'll send him another message.
I need a big sign. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Surely they can hear us
Speech.
now.
Oh, no.
We can hear you, Tinker. Loud and clear.
Or maybe they can't hear us because they would have responded earlier, like we said, because we asked them to wave and things, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Brendan, I assume you got the link from Pete about that roof walk.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
switched off.
Yeah.
Sound on.
We've had about
You can hear us.
let me check.
We can hear you, Noel. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. Yeah.
We all
Okay.
good to go now?
Can he hear you?
Yeah.
Well,
Don't say anything bad about any of them.
It's too late. We already heard you.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, well, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
No, they can't.
Maybe they haven't got the speaker switched on.
Going back to your thing, Gizzy, there's
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 people at the moment. That's all we've got. But
Okay.
I'll send it around again. I was thinking about maybe
Sound up to the right hand corner.
No, well, that's not sound. This is
Self
sound.
and Andrew are up for it, and I think you are on
No.
it, Pete.
Yeah, okay.
That's
okay.
internet.
Sorry, Jim. What was that?
You up for the roof walk?
Oh,
Speakers
yeah.
are up
Yeah,
as
I-
high as they can go.
No, that's a speaker.
So it's
I just
definitely.
thought in the end it was a bit expensive.
Hello?
Maybe
Oh,
I
no,
was
we
looking
can
at
hear
a
you.
different part.
Hello?
Don't
We can
Uh,
hear you.
We can hear
It
you.
says my
Noel.
speaker is not working. Check
It's
your
fine.
connection or use a different speaker.
It's fine. Your
I'm
speaker-
snookered.
Yeah, but he can't hear us. His speaker's not working. His microphone is, but not the speaker. So
Is
it
there
doesn't
any
matter.
key on the button?
It's come off now.
Just muting yourself now.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh well.
It shows his sound is muted.
Yeah, just muted, yeah.
That's no, it's all right now.
Yeah, but he still can't hear us. It's
What
his,
does that say? Press
it's
Alt
his,
what?
it's his speaker.
Alt plus something else.
Oh, well.
We
get
can
that back
hear you,
up,
Noel.
We do this every week.
2
Oh, it doesn't look
years,
muted now.
Steve.
Yeah, 2 fucking years.
2 years.
Can you phone him up, Brendan?
Is there anything over there that says speaker? Anything up there?
I'll give him a call.
Muted.
Someone's
That's never
calling in
happened
now.
before, so I don't know what the hell is going on. You can go out and come in again. I wonder if that'll make a difference.
That sounds, she's got it. She said go out,
If you
come in
got
again.
that
That might be
Alt.
the solution.
An alternative key for that. Here, let's hit this up. Right in there.
This is good. This is
Go
good stuff.
to,
Unmute.
right under
It's
it,
sign
under here,
language.
click in the,
It's nearly over now, anyhow.
There you go. Well, hopefully they'll get it fixed.
That's
So
good. That's
we
good,
saw
Ray.
quite
It's
a few of the pictures from the reunion. It looked a great day. Some lovely pictures.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the best, actually.
Yeah. Everyone looks so young.
How about that?
Have you been for an eye test recently?
I don't know if you remember last year when we got in with a conversation with Tony Yeomans. You remember Tony Yeomans?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a good catch up with him this year. Tony Yeomans is quite a funny guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
he was a captain, wasn't he?
He was, yes. He ended up as captain, yeah.
I think he was the first officer on the Sun, I think.
Yeah.
What ship was he captain on?
He said, I'm sure he said his last one. I'm not sure if he said he was Crown Princess or Dawn Princess, I think. And then he said he'd retired, and then they called him back about 6 weeks into his retirement to do one more trip because they'd had problems with, I think he's an Italian captain, I'm not sure, but so he retired and he went back and did another trip for a short spell. But he has some quite good stories, Tony.
He's a real character, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, he was. He was always a character when he was second mate.
Yeah. No woman was safe on the ship.
Yeah.
What about the
Italian captain wasn't waving to his girlfriend?
Terry Russell, is he still alive?
Who?
Terry Russell. Terry Russell.
Yeah.
Do you remember him?
Yes, he is. He lives
Yes,
in he lives in Cairns.
Yeah, he's in
right.
Australia, isn't he? That's right.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a message from him just about in the last week from somewhere up in Queensland, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's Cairns where he
Cairns,
is.
that's it.
Yeah, he was very good. He was funny guy.
Great.
Well, he was in the football
Chadwick. Do you
team.
remember Tony Chadwick? Do you remember Tony
Yeah,
Chadwick?
yeah.
Chadwick, yeah.
I think he ended up in Australia as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Terry Russell played football, didn't he, with us?
Yeah. Tony
Yeah,
Chadwick used to play quite a bit as well.
Yeah. He used to play golf as well. He used to go to golf with us.
And I met up. In fact, I didn't recognise him. He recognised me, Graham Box. Do you remember he was? I think he was SAP for a while, Crew AP.
Yeah.
He played football as well. He was goalie in the team. Scots lad.
He was there with Graham Billett, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
Saw Graham Billett.
Yeah.
He made it
I
over.
spoke to Graham and Chris. They're from Leicester originally. That's how I knew them quite well.
Well, I sailed with both of them.
Was
I think
anybody
I'm all-
on the Sun Princess when we did the first trip as the Sun after we changed from Spirit of London? Was
I think
anybody
I
there?
know. I can't remember now.
When they did the pilot film for the Love Boat.
Yes, I was a wine waiter.
That's right. There was a bit on the website, and of course everybody's saying, "Oh, the first one was the Pacific Princess." So I went on there and said, "No." I said the first one was the Sun Princess. I said the pilot film was made on there. They came, all the cast and the crew came on board and did. I think it was a 2-week cruise, and I think it was around to San Juan. And
You're right, John.
somebody said, "No, it's not." And then what's her name? Annabelle Sterling came on and said, "Oh, it'd be interesting to see that." And she said she would contact somebody in LA. She said, "I'm sure if there's a copy, we can dig it out." Well, somebody went on to the what's the encyclopedia, Winnipeg or something or other. Wikipedia, and came back and said on the Wikipedia it says the first love boat was the Pacific Princess.
No, it wasn't.
I said, well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
So there was. I haven't heard anything back yet. This was a few days ago, but they were going to investigate because I said, well, I haven't got any proof other than I was there at the time. I said, but the other one that I know was on there was the cruise director, which was Brian Langston Carter, who's in LA now. And if anybody contacts in, I'm sure he would confirm it.
Yeah, they made the first one on the Sun, John. The first one was the pilot.
No, he's on his phone.
They did the pilot, and the leading actress was a girl called Karen Valentine, because I was a wine waiter.
Right.
And wasn't the author of the Love Boat book on there as well, if I remember rightly?
I don't know, but they also did a Love Boat. They had a Love Boat cocktail competition.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And it was on there, and I'm pretty sure Phil was the bar manager.
Yeah,
And
it was.
the winner was Roy Jenkins.
Jingles,
Jingles,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I
It
remember
was
that.
Jingles, yeah.
That whole
And
malt
they-
pink thing, wasn't it, with cream?
Exactly. Yeah.
Tequila,
And it was in a
tequila,
brandy
creme de
bloom. They
cacao.
served it in a brandy bloom.
And they kept the balloon.
Galliano.
They
Yeah.
could buy the
That's
glass. They could
You're
buy
right,
the
Pete.
glass.
Yeah, they did.
Hi, good evening, Noel. Glad
It
you're
was a
in.
boom.
Good evening, everybody. I'm starting
Yeah.
a GoFundMe page for a new computer.
Yeah. Well, we need to do the same for Steve, a GoFundMe for a new iPhone.
Don't
Yeah, do that, John.
don't be shy with a handbag.
Is it sterling or euros, Noel?
We're going to get you on an IT course, Noel.
Yeah, I know.
Pound shillings and pence, I think it is.
Brendan, the Love Boat cocktail was white creme de cacao, tequila, Galliano, and cream, and it was a boon to the bartenders because all he ever had in it was Galliano. And I know because I've got a funny story about Galliano, which I won't tell on this call, but one awful, those bloody things would sell like hotcakes because they had the Love Boat glass, right?
It was
and
pink.
one day we were I was a steward and I was in the Union Jack bar, and what the Scottish bartender that's dead now that he had a broken hand, which was supposed to be from punching Peter Story. That was the story that I heard.
Robbie, want it?
Don Donaldson.
Oh, Don.
Yeah,
was it?
I think it was.
Robbie.
I'm pretty sure it was Don. We could not sell these bloody things fast enough, and we ran out of glasses. And he sent me up to the locker to get 2 more boxes of glasses. We brought them down, and instead of washing them, which is what I thought he would do, he just opened up the box and started pouring the Love Boat mix into the glasses, right? And then I was serving them. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, this lady came up to me and she said she found broken glass in the bottom of her Love Boat cocktail. And sure enough, she had. And there was probably a couple of glasses had broken in transit, and those little pieces of glass had transferred to the glasses. All these Love Boat cocktails out there with broken glass in the bottom of them. It was like, oh, what a nightmare.
If anybody's wondering where all the glasses went, one of them is in Risca in Wales, and he sat there watching us. Look, that's why you could. That's why you're.
Have you got one? Is that the Love Boat glass?
Ray?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You remember those, Noel?
They're
Making
pretty-
those Love Boat cocktails.
They're probably pretty rare these days.
Do they still do that on the Love Boats? Anybody know?
No, not that one.
Not that one. No.
Wasn't there a competition with bartenders to do?
there was.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Well, I thought the original glasses, the Princess Seawick, was red on the original.
Yeah, it was
glass.
red. Yeah.
Well, it was pink, actually, wasn't it?
It
Yeah.
was pink and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
It was cream and grenadine. Cream and grenadine. That's what made it
Cream
pink.
and grenadine. Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
Galliano. We need to put Galliano in it.
Did you anyway?
You could. Yeah.
What do you put
You
the
could still-
Galliano in for?
I think Jingles won it because that was the only one they could taste alcohol in.
That's the only thing that you can taste is Galliano.
My punters
anyway.
used to love it. They could drink it all night without getting pissed.
Just get aniseed.
That one to do this one or what?
No, well, I can keep.
You must have borrowed some of Super Tart's essence then.
Yeah, aniseed essence of John. Didn't even.
Meeting ID.
327.
What's the Monty Python parrot? The
327
parrot scare?
9080.
Norwegian plume.
What's
The
no?
Norwegian Blues, that's right. One afternoon in the Starlight Bar, we had all these bottles of, I can't think what they call it, Dutch liqueur, and it used to be in sort of a ceramic bottle.
Geneva gin. Geneva
Bowls.
gin.
What was it?
Bowls.
Geneva
Geneva
gin,
gin.
Bowl.
Genevieve.
Allow you to.
Yeah, and we had about
Just over
we had like a dozen of these bottles, and again, I think this is Dave, but he's not on today, but we came up with the Norwegian parrot, and we made this cocktail out of this Dutch liqueur. By the end of the afternoon, it was all gone.
David,
today's special,
Dr.
the Norwegian
What was the
parrot.
name of the Love Boat lady?
But it's
What was the name of
Geraldine.
the Love Boat author?
Yeah, Geraldine Saunders.
Saunders, that's it. Geraldine Saunders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she travelled on the Sun when they first did the pilot.
She was on PP as well, Scotty, I think, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah. That was his,
I'm sure she was, yeah.
I've got a
76,
recollection that she actually
Or
played
77.
the cruise director in the film on that one. I might be
The
wrong.
pilot, she probably did.
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
remember
comes to
rightly, they
mind. I
gave quite a
can't-
bit of money to the
sure.
crew club, didn't they? Because they had a generator on the back deck.
That's right. They bolted it. I don't know whether that was Love Boat or whether that was the Troubled Water one. With
It might have been Colombo. Yeah.
I think it was Colombo, that one, because we did.
the
Yes,
actress
it
that
was
played-
because we had very bad weather. We was doing the Panama Canal, and going from Acapulco to Panama, we went through a force 9 gale, and JY was on the bridge for about 24 hours, I believe. And I think that was the only night that all my time at sea, that I never went to my cabin. I stayed up in the mess room all night because the ship was just going from side to side. And apparently he said afterwards that I don't know what the degree was, but it went over to a certain point and held there. And he said it just needed one push on the other side from a wave and would have turned over. But lucky enough, we came back. But that was quite a horrendous voyage, that one, and a lot of damage done as well. And the only time I remember that we never ever served a meal, couldn't serve a meal because you couldn't keep a pot on the stove, and drinks and sandwiches was only available. Drinks was in paper cups because that's what the situation was at the time.
I remember sitting in that crew mess with the piano was in there.
That's right, and that moved as well.
And it was going from side to side and smashing holes in the bulkheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there when the piano did break free and went through the bulkhead in the crew mess.
But the film
on one night, I don't remember what night that was.
The Colombo film was called, as I said before, Troubled Waters, and I saw the film. I think it was last year on Film 4 on the TV.
Yeah, it was not too long ago, John. I saw it again.
Yeah, and there was a scene there with Patrick McNee that was supposed to be the captain, talking to somebody in one of the alleyways. This was actually filmed on the ship, and you can see them trying to keep their balance. They're sort of going like this with the ship, and you can see this on the film.
Wasn't Gus Sexton in
You
that?
mentioned that. I was out with friends for lunch today, and they mentioned that film actually.
It was what? Sorry.
I was out for lunch with some friends today, and
Yeah.
they mentioned that film.
Oh yeah,
Troubled
yeah.
Waters. I was telling them that I was working on board the ship. I wasn't there when they made it, but
No, I wasn't there when they made that. But I definitely remember the Love Boat thing. And Karen Valentine, who was the star, I think what they did was, I think she was making quite a few. I'm not sure if she could negotiate. She couldn't agree an ongoing contract with them, so she never got the part. She did the pilot, but she never got the main part, and someone else got it. And
yeah, the girl that played it in the series, Brendan, her name was Lauren Tews.
Yeah, yeah.
She was the cruise director, wasn't she?
That's right. Yeah. We went out with them one day in LA. They invited us to the studios. And the guy that played Gopher, what was his name?
Fred someone. Fred,
that's right, yeah.
Fred someone.
Fred Grandy.
That's it.
Yeah, and we went out to the studios when we were in LA Dry Dock to see them. They showed us around the studio. It's very interesting, actually.
Yeah,
and we
because
spent a day out with them in one of the ports. We went out with them in the back of a bloody one of those open top Jeep things, you know.
Well, in October, we're going on the Love Boat cruise, which was cancelled in February, where the remaining celebrities will be on board to pay tribute to Gavin MacLeod.
John, ask for the Love Boat cocktail, and if they don't know what it is, you can tell them what it is.
I will make sure that they know that the pilot was on the Sun Princess.
Oh, good.
If I recollect reading, I think it's Fred Grandy. He became a politician in the US, didn't he? He's either he's either a senator or a representative for one of the states, isn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yes, he became a politician. Yeah.
Oh, he was that good an actor, was he?
Yeah, obviously.
You'll have to invite them onto the Zoom, John.
Yeah, that'd be something else, wouldn't it? Yeah, obviously, I have the picture of me and Cindy.
Over the years, many of us must have met with many TV and film star celebrities. I was just wondering who can share with what. I know that there's a famous one with Alan and Bob Hope. Alan looks as miserable as bloody sin. But I remember John Teagle, the barman John Teagle.
Yes.
Yeah. He had his done with Neil Armstrong. That was quite a famous one.
Wow.
Yeah, I was on there for that. That was the Spirit of London, I think, then, wasn't it? When Neil
No,
Armstrong.
I don't know.
No, he was on Canberra.
Canberra.
Yeah, because he was talking to Neil Armstrong in the Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
When he had the Donald Sutherland, didn't you, Johnny?
Yeah, the Colonel had Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
And I told Donald Sutherland he was in my way, because he was in my way. But I didn't even realize it was Donald Sutherland until he moved, and then I could see who he was. And John had said he had Donald Sutherland in his cabin. I think you already told this story, John, but I didn't really know who Donald Sutherland was. I mean, I recognized him immediately, but I wasn't really sure. And he was standing next to the horse box in the International Lounge on the last night of the cruise in St. Thomas, when we had the big show at 10 o'clock. And he was right in my way, and I pushed him and said, "You're in my way. Get out of my way."
Yeah. Who else did we meet? I mean, Charlie, did you meet any famous celebs when you were cruising?
I don't know if infamous, perhaps. Jimmy Savile.
Oh yeah. He was on Canberra. Did a lot of cruises on Canberra.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
He was always sat in the telephone exchange, and when I went past, he was like, "Hello, chef." Who was it? Jackie. You remember Jackie, Black Jackie?
Jackie, yeah, she was lovely.
Yeah, he was quite friendly with her, and I was the other.
Who were your famous?
Eileen, I think another one was there.
Who were your famous encounters with, Noel? Who did you meet?
Yeah, well, I just going back to Charlie. He met two celebrities last week when he was over in Ballinasloe. I met Jimmy Savile, unfortunately, and he was in Madeira, and he came to a disco with us. God, he was the bee's knee.
Right at the top of the hill.
Yeah. I remember Alfie Severn, the late Alfie. He had, I think it was Kurt Douglas or someone. He got a drink the night before disembarkation, and he hadn't paid for it. And Alfie was waiting in the gangway next day when he was getting off. "All right, Mike, you said you owe me for two large brandies last night," or wherever it was.
That's Alfie.
No, Alfie, fair play, yeah.
Was any of you on there at Spirit of London, I think, when Rosemary Clooney travelled with her nephew, which was George Clooney, I believe, and her son. I think they was about 18 at the time. And Brian Langston, Brian Langston Carter was the cruise director. Anyway, we was having a cruise show night. And as you know, they was all sort of very casual, and if entertainers come down, we fitted them in between whatever was going on. Anyway, she wasn't due to come down for someone. Well, I know why, because the cruise director wasn't going to let her come down, but she appeared. So I said to her, I didn't realize you was coming down. I said, "I'm sorry." So she said, "Well, I can't perform without my pianist." So I said, "Well, I'll give the cruise director a call, and we'll see if we can locate him, you see." So I phoned Brian Langston Carter. He said, "What's that fucking cow doing down there? She shouldn't have been down there," and carried on. So he said, "It's not her pianist, it's the ship's pianist, and he's working." He said, "But he'll have a break." He says, "I'll ask him if he's prepared to come down. If he's not," he said, "then he won't." Anyway, he did come down. But I said to her he was coming down, and she turned around to me and said, "I've never seen nothing so fucking unorganized in all my life." I had to go on stage and introduce her then, and I went on. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's the lovely, it's the beautiful, it's the wonderful Rosemary Clooney." And I went out like going, she was a horror. She was a horror. But I think she thought she was at the London Palladium with a revolving stage the way she was carrying on. But there we are.
I remember David Bowie. He travelled to New York with a friend of his on the Canberra. That was before he was probably a boyfriend at the time. He couldn't make up his mind which way he was going to go. So
he was on a Ronsay too, Noel.
Yeah, but we had
from San Francisco to Japan, didn't he?
I can't remember the name of the cruise director, but he set up kind of a Michael Parkinson show. He interviewed him. Now he was good. You know, he didn't, and he kept to it, but he was good, and he was interviewed, and he was quite, nice to the crew and the whole lot. He seemed to be a nice chap at the time. God,
David Bowie was a very nice bloke.
Yeah, that's about.
I was having a bit of
ago.
Bacardi and Coke with David Bowie the night before he got off in Japan.
Yes, he was. He's very ordinary, wasn't he?
Cabin.
He was very ordinary, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's quite funny because he was involved with the hairdressing manageress and the hairdressing manager.
Yeah, him and his mate were wearing dungarees, and we used to call him here's the two window cleaners coming now. And he heard about it, but he had a great laugh about it. He was very good, yeah.
I remember one of the assistant cruise directors, this wasn't involving me, but he came back, he was all excited because he'd been on the beach. We were in Puerto Vallarta till midnight, and he had been on the beach in the afternoon, and he'd met Raquel Welch and her daughter. And he'd hit it off with her, and they'd invited him for dinner that evening. And he came back to the ship, and he was just like bursting with excitement. And off he went. I never really heard what happened or what his dinner was like or anything like that. I just remember him being so excited. I was thinking nothing like that ever happens to me.
I think there were so many of them. I mean, we met Eartha Kitt and Christian Barnard, and Neil Armstrong, Charlton Heston.
Yeah, he was on.
So many of them.
I think.
See them all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was
Charlton Heston was on PP. That's been cruising. Yeah. That's been
cruising was a great place to see the movie stars and TV stars and everything, and the pop stars.
Yeah.
And also the football teams used to go out as well, didn't they, to Australia and summer tours.
And cricketers,
the cricketers certainly used to.
Cricketers used to, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they all fly now.
It's getting time to wrap it up because we've got a long Oscar tonight, don't we, Foodie?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little taster,
Oscar,
Fruity, of what? Can you give us a little taster, Fruity, of what we've got to expect from Oscar? A little nibble.
I can indeed.
Richard.
As you probably know, Oscar works at
Give me a minute,
at Carlisle Cathedral. So his Oscar tale this week is A Guide's Tale.
A Guide's Tale.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that Girl Guide or?
I don't know what the devil that is.
I doubt it. Not with Oscar.
It might be a Cub's tale.
And I don't think there are many Mexicans in Carlisle.
Oscar will find one.
In Carlisle. Well, that'll be very interesting to watch.
And next week we are going to be celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the Crew Bar, aren't we, Steve?
Oh wow!
Yeah, was that? Yeah.
We'll have a toast.
So we want as many people as possible in. So anyone you know who's been in before, who hasn't been in before, try and G them up just to come in, even if it's only for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Try and get a
I assume Mr. Inge will be back.
Yes, our anchorman will be back next week. Yes, he is coming back on Wednesday after his sojourn on the rivers. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay, so it's
I might have to make an exception and have a drink then if it's start early as it's an anniversary.
2 years.
All right. So we'll see you all next week, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers, John. Good night, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Have a nice week, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao.
See you, everyone.
There you go.
Bye, all. Bye.
Cathedral, a guide's tale. After I retired, I rapidly came to the conclusion that a daily diet of coffee breaks, daytime television, and house cleaning did not cut it. I needed a job or something to do. At the same time, I had found out, after morning service on the Sunday at Carlisle Cathedral, that they urgently needed volunteers for their shop, welcomers, and guides. I volunteered to be a guide, but I had to wait for training until they had enough people to run a training course. So, buying the training book written by Canon Weston, I proceeded to train myself for many months, going into the cathedral several days a week for 18 months. Eventually, the cathedral ran a training course for 6 new probationer guides, and I ended up with enough knowledge to do the job. As there was 900 years of history since it was first constructed in Norman times, in King Henry I's reign, you can see why it took some time to actually get up to scratch. Actually, it was constructed as an Augustinian priory church in 1122 AD. So a rapid bit of mathematics by those of you who are quick on the uptake will reveal to you that Carlisle Cathedral is 900 years old this year. Only 11 years later, in 1133, a bishop was appointed and it became a cathedral. What makes it a cathedral, I hear you ask? Well, where there is a diocese, a bishop is appointed to run it. And in the cathedral, he has a very ornate special seat called the bishop's throne. In Latin, that is called a cathedra. Therefore, the mother church of the diocese is a cathedral. So now I had my job, and I meet people from all over the world. I'm from all over the United Kingdom. I answer questions, conduct tours, and if required, greet people at the entrance and give them a brief introduction before they proceed to go and explore. We also have to deal with queries about services and other church matters and direct people to suitable persons, such as a cathedral priest or the verger. All this is done round the normal cathedral life of 3 services a day. 8 a.m. morning prayer, 12:30 p.m. Eucharist, and 5:45 p.m. evensong, with the choir and organ music. If you think that 3 services a day are a lot, then consider the pastimes. In the days of the monastic priory that was here until the Reformation, in King Henry VIII's time, they did 7 services a day. Popular cathedrals such as York, Durham, Canterbury have lots of volunteers, and people flock to become guides at them, and they are restricted to 1 shift a week. Most have about 600 on their books that they can call on. Not so at Carlisle. So many of us do multiple shifts a week. We have about 30 volunteers at the moment for shop, guide, and welcomers, and are running a recruitment drive at this moment. Anyone out there fancy joining us? No? I thought not. Last week was very different. We ran degree ceremonies for Cumbria University for students from the past 2 pandemic years to finally get their degrees. There were 2,700 students arriving back to Carlisle from all over the UK and the world to attend this wonderful ceremony. Each session starts with the admittance of 2 guests for every student to loud organ music, followed by the student procession with their gowns and mortarboard hats, and a blast of fanfare music from the organ. Then the procession of the faculty with the University Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, and the Dean of the Carlisle Cathedral bringing up the rear, marching down the aisle to the stage with the organ playing the music called The Entrance really is so grand, such a wonderful spectacle, and just so very well done. Then again, I often think only we British have such a flair for these things. 2,700 students plus 2 visitors each is equal to 8,100 souls arriving at the cathedral. There were 17 different ceremonies over 5 days. I was on the door of the cathedral, so it was a very busy week. But it was so good to see all these young, excited students getting their degrees, some having waited 2 years because of the lockdown. In between the second and third ceremony of the day, there was a 45-minute gap to show visitors a brief look of the cathedral. On the Wednesday, I was conducting a tour with 10 visitors when the Vice-Chancellor of Cumbria University and the new Chancellor of the university came up to my group. And the Vice-Chancellor said, "Can I interrupt you for 1 minute?" I said, "Yes, of course, Vice-Chancellor." She addressed the group and said, "I would like to introduce you all to the Archbishop of York, Steve Cottrell, who is here today to be installed as the new Chancellor of Cumbria University." My little group of tourists were, of course, absolutely thrilled to meet the Archbishop of York. It must have been the highlight of their day. It was also informal, and one lady asked the Vice-Chancellor, "I see you give with their degree scroll each student a little mascot toy of a woolly sheep. Will you do this every year?" She replied, "Oh yes, it is a suitable symbol for the Cumbria University." Of course, I cannot let such a suitable opportunity for a laugh and the last word go by. And in typical Oscar fashion, I open my big yap and say, "Well, everyone knows there are more sheep than people in Cumbria." Well, that's all, folks, for this week. From Oscar. Oh, and always remember,